138 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Pro. Mr.
Andre the
Pro
Giant.
gonna get his licks in on the bruiser.
Hulk Hogan. Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
his opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Welcome into another edition of the Retro Wrestling Rewind. As always, I'm David Fine alongside the true Long Island IZ, Alex G. Like I said, Alex, in the teaser last week, we needed to get our passports in order. Hopefully everything was a square away for you, because we're talking Collision in Korea this week here on the program. It's a show that you can't find on the network. You have to delve into the old YouTube hole. What were your thoughts going in? I had not seen this entire show in a long time. What were your thoughts, and why did you pick this show in particular?
Well, there's a couple of things here. Number one, I think the reason why it's on the WWE Network, I think it's owned by New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's probably why. It's an interesting show, first and foremost, because it's kind of like the bookend of kind of the birth of Wrestle Kingdom, the January 4th shows. It started with Starrcade 91, the New Japan show, when they started having the relationship with WCW. So we would see a lot of New Japan talent going over to WCW and lots of WCW talent going over to New Japan. And at this point, they're really, really entrenched with each other, working together here. Now, this show is weird because it takes place in North Korea. There are some similarities to the current WWE doing shows in Saudi Arabia. Now, I guess the big difference here is that Saudi Arabia, not to get into politics, is not necessarily they're technically an ally of ours, although they do have some human rights violations and what have you over there. But North Korea is an enemy combatant in 1995, and it sure as hell an enemy combatant in 2020. So even just Americans being over there in the first place, it's kind of insane how Bischoff got this approved through Turner. Again, also completely insane. But, here we are in Korea. Now, a lot of the show is based on, they talk quite a bit about Riki Dozen. Now, Riki Dozen is the godfather of Japanese professional wrestling. He is Korean, and he is a mentor to Antonio Inoki and the Giant Baba. So it was important that they honored his legacy by going over to Korea. And I'm pretty sure, again, a lot of people don't know this, is that, yes, Antonio Inoki was in Japanese politics. And I think he was pissed off at the government at this time. It's like, fuck you guys. I'm doing a show over in Korea. Now, the attendance here is 165,000 for the first day and 190,000 for the second day. Now, that's Mayday Stadium, and that's in North Korea. And if you notice, the crowd doesn't react to anything because they don't know anything about professional wrestling. I kind of get the impression that they were forced to go. You know what I mean? And it's a communist country. So they were forced to go, not knowing exactly what the fuck they were watching.
Yeah, that's weird. But
it is, again, the whole concept is very strange. And the pay-per-view now, they produced this pay-per-view. It was played on American pay-per-view, so we got to see it. And obviously we have commentary by Eric Bischoff, Mike Tenay, and Sonny Ono. And you'll see quite a bit of there's more matches. It's just we don't have access to these matches. At least I think I have a full copy somewhere with both nights, but with Japanese commentary over it. Because I'm pretty sure there's a Savage match that is not on here. That's not necessarily supposed to be, but happened because he was over there. So were the Road Warriors, I believe. So again, this is 1995 WCW in New Japan. Obviously, we're missing a couple of big stars off the version that we have. I think it's most noticeable is absent on this show is Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan ain't going to Korea, brother. That's not going to work for him. So he didn't go. So I always thought that was kind of funny that, you have it's not Inoki versus Hogan. It's Inoki versus Flair. Now, these guys, I don't think had wrestled up to this point, again, because of New Japan's relationship with the WWF and All Japan's relationship with the NWA, and it will continue on for a little while. So I thought overall the significance of this match is, number one, the attendance. It is the biggest attendance for any wrestling show in the world, which is extremely important. It's the first time that we saw a lot of these Japanese. It's the first time I've seen like Hashimoto. It's the first time I've seen Inoki since the Ali stuff and his run in the WWF. So it was the first time I was kind of introduced to Japanese style wrestling, at least in terms of how they produce a show, what the show looks like. And now I've seen Japanese wrestlers come over to WCW, which like Muda and Chono, and sometimes for that Japanese versus American feud that they had, I believe the next year. But it's interesting. Again, we get an early look at a pre WCW Chris Benoit, Wild Pegasus. We get to see Hiro Saito. We get to see Tomoshi Izuwawa. We get to see Yoshida here, Hase, Kenta Sasaki, and of course no Muda on this show either, which is a little disappointing. And we actually get a women's match with Bull Nakano, Hokuto, and Toyota and Yoshida. So, I think overall when we look at the show, it's an interesting kind of snapshot of time of 1995 WCW and 1995 New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was highly well attended, but it's just one of those things. I don't think the people knew what the hell they were watching. They were just like,
no, what the fuck was this?
What the hell are we watching, and why are we here? Oh yeah, because we're forced to be here. It's fucking Korea. Of course.
Now, there's been a lot of stories about some of the more tense moments. If you want to get some in-depth history on that, listen to like the Ric Flair podcast where he talks about the show, the Eric Bischoff podcast where they talk about some of the backstage stuff. Like they wanted Flair to cut like this anti-American promo at a press conference. He does the press conference, but he doesn't really shoot down America all that much, or not at all. Flair's a proud American. He wouldn't do that. And there were some tense moments of like, there are Americans on this show that didn't think they were going to make it back. And we see that with Saudi Arabia, especially the last show when they were kind of like stuck there for a while. So again, I'm sure WCW got a huge fucking check for their show, much like the WWE does from Saudi Arabia. And a lot of people, will ask me my thoughts on Saudi Arabia in general. And I lead with this. Would I book a show there? Probably not. Would I book a show and they're handing me $100 million? I might consider it. It's hard. I can be all fucking righteous and shit and say, fuck those guys. I ain't doing a show over there. That's a backwards country and they're a bunch of jerks. First of all, it's not that backwards, and there may or may not be the government, at least, a bunch of jerks. The people over there in Saudi Arabia are good people. That being said, you put that $100 million in front of me, I might jerk off a horse for $100 million.
It took $100 million for you to do that? I thought it was like $10.
It might be a fucking piece of bubble gum. You know what I mean? So it's like, Vince McMahon does have investors and a board of directors that he has an answer to. And imagine him having to go back. It's like, no, we're not going to take that deal. You might get a little heat for that.
Yeah,
I think it puts him in an unenviable position because, Vince himself is a proud American. But that $100 million or whatever it is, it's a lot of fucking money. Hard to turn that down. Now, I do respect the guys who don't go to those shows, by the way. So when we have like a Sami Zayn who doesn't go to those shows, I respect them.
Yeah, well,
they're standing by their virtues there.
But Sami Zayn, to be honest with you, I don't think he's allowed to be on the show. Like they're anti whatever nationality he is. It's like,
I believe he's Syrian.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't think he, yeah. But,
well, there's a handful of guys who don't attend those shows,
and they're the big name guys. The small name guys. The mid carders are not gonna fucking say, "I'm sorry, we're not gonna."
We'll probably end up getting Goldberg versus Sting in the next one. Like the Prince of Saudi Arabia is very stuck in 1997 wrestling. You know what I mean? He's very fixated on that. which a lot of people I know personally who are also very fixated on that time and place their professional wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, let's
So
have...
I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to see like a Ricochet versus AJ Styles match. He's like, nah, give me Goldberg and Undertaker, give me Goldberg and Sting.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
And for that kind of money, we know the price it would take for the WWE to let you book your own show, $100 million, and they'll let me book their show.
Do you have? Is that your price $100 million? If they paid you $100 million, you'd go over there and do it.
I wouldn't even book that show. I wouldn't even book WWF. I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
Why not? Why could you?
Here's
not?
the thing: it would take me to fix the issues with their show. Would take me about 6 months with full control over the production, because I think their biggest issue right now isn't the in-ring product, because I think it's at an all-time high. I think their issues lie more with the production size, the look of the show, the fact that the show is stale. They're doing the same shit they were doing in 1998 in terms of the look and feel of the show. Nothing has necessarily changed, and a lot of their storylines are kabuki-ish, so to speak. So it took me about 6 months and full control over everything. I probably no one would like it because I would book for myself.
Yeah, I mean, but let's get into the show. I mean, the first match we had, I mean, what were your thoughts on, I mean, going in, did you have any expectations? I mean, did you, good, bad, indifferent about this show?
I've heard of Chris Benoit through the magazines, and rightfully so. At the time, I thought he was a Dynamite Kid clone, which he very much was a Dynamite Kid clone. So I wasn't necessarily down on Benoit. I'll tell you this. By the time we get to 2004, Chris Benoit is my favorite wrestler. So what happens later on really hurt my fandom and professional wrestling in general. It was when I stopped watching wrestling regularly, like on a weekly basis, is when that shit went down. But Benoit's fucking amazing in the ring. Oh my god! If he was 2 inches taller, he would have been a 30-time world champion. Like, even though his promos were shit, like he was that fucking good. And Scorpio was a good opponent for him. Like, we've seen them have fucking great matches before. We've seen them have great matches, I believe, in ECW, if I'm not mistaken. Benoit is fucking amazing, and he's obviously big in Japan during this time, and it's a good signal. It's a good opening match, and I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it went 6:22.
Probably should have went a little bit longer, to be honest.
Why should it have gone a little longer, you think?
Well, I think, and that style of match that they were going to have, it probably should have went 12. But I don't. Again, the way this card is cut up, it's a 2-night show, and I'm not necessarily. I don't know what was night 1 or night 2, and we don't even know where they felt on the card anyway. So yeah, this might be the first match that we saw, but it might have been the 15th match on that card.
Yeah, I mean it's there's shows like that. I mean, you never know if it's going to be the first night, or it's just weird. You never know. I mean, the fans could have been into it, or they could not, because it could be the first match of the night, or it could be the 15th match of the. It's kind of like you said, like a Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
Feel so. Yeah, I mean, and the next match, I've never heard of these two wrestlers.
You never heard of Yuji Nagata? Shut the fuck up.
Yes, I've heard.
You've never heard of fucking Yuji Nagata?
Yes, I have.
Then why did you say you didn't hear him? We saw Yuji Nagata in 1997, 1998 WCW. Big fucking deal in New Japan. Like, top guy. Top fucking guy in New Japan. Really, really fucking fantastic fucking wrestler. Not so much in MMA. He's 0-2. But whatever. Doesn't matter. But fantastic wrestler. And his opponent, fucking Ishikawa, he works for WWE currently. So he is one of the trainers at NXT. Look at that.
I mean, Yeah, I mean,
And it's good to have a Japanese guy over there with the amount of international talent they're getting. But again, Ichikaza, wrestled Tiger Mask. He was in the Young Lions Cup. A staple of the New Japan Junior Heavyweight division. So again, really, really fucking good fucking match. Like fucking ridiculously good.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, for two people that I say I'd never heard of, it was a good match. I mean,
like the guy that's still green here. Again, he would get his big push in years to come. But for a young boy match early on in the card, it was really, really good.
Yeah, I mean,
and the guy that got a big push in WCW in terms of New Japan guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good match. I mean, it wasn't my favorite match of the night, but it was definitely. I mean, since we don't know, it could have been first. I mean, I don't know how this was edited. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, that's the thing too.
This could have been the first match. This could have been the last match. You never know. It's like, I don't know. So, I mean, you have to just take it for face value that it was the second match of the night, or second match of the pay-per-view that you saw. But, so, it is what it is. Chono and Saito taking on El Samurai and Yoshida. Yoshida. Guy. Yeah, that guy. Tag team match, 8 minutes, 6 seconds. It was, I thought it was.
Future NWO members, Chono and Saito, by the way.
God.
They were NWO Japan.
How many fucking NWOs have there been and are there? I mean, it's like, they still have an NWO in New Japan. It's like, it has fucking Haku on it, and it's like, or, Ming,
I like
a dick about
NWO Japan. Well, that was pretty fun. Chono, I guess, being the most relevant wrestler in this match in terms of Western audiences. Former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Again, he was doing some really again, he's a top level guy. For those of you who don't know, Chono, top guy, top fucking guy. His gimmick is based on the Yakuza, so he looks like he's a mafia man. That's what Rhodes would say, but he won the tournament, winning the NWA and the World Heavyweight Championship in 1992. Lost it to Muta. I believe Muta lost it to Wyndham, if I'm not mistaken. That's how that went. But again, Chono was the guy that you would see on a lot of these WCW shows. So he would come in and wrestle for the World Cup. You know what I mean? But I do like Chono quite a bit. El Samurai, I think everyone should be familiar with El Samurai. Staple of the junior division in New Japan. He was there for fucking ever. Had great matches like Chris Jericho. This guy was fucking off the chain. If you watch early fucking light heavyweight juniors type stuff, El Samurai is a staple of that. And Yoshida, again, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Again, these guys would go on to be fucking your top level guys in New Japan. So, fucking, watch this match. It's fucking awesome. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, I mean, stop the podcast right now. Go watch it right now, and then keep it on. But yeah, I mean, it was a good match. I mean, God, the next match had my favorite wrestler of all time, and I say this sarcastic. Yes, Bull Nakano. It was a great women's match. I mean, it was the only women's match that we saw. I mean, what were your thoughts on Bull Nakano? I know you're a big fan of Bull Nakano.
Bull Nakano was fucking awesome. She looked legitimately dangerous. She was going to murder people. Again, you would see her in WWF, where she featured with Wonder Blaze. You would see her in WCW. Probably in terms of a gimmick, she's probably one of the more noticeable. She makes an impact because of the way she looked. So I think to Western audiences, she's probably the biggest name in this match. Not the best wrestler, but the biggest name. And she's a professional golfer now. So look at that. Good for her, Bull Nakano. And Miami Toyota might be one of the best wrestlers in the history of wrestling. So she's probably top 5, regardless of fucking gender. It doesn't matter.
You think that?
That's not what I think. It's the fucking truth. the reality of the situation. Go back and watch her matches. The moves in her fucking matches. People today do not even try to emulate her. Fucking ridiculous. I mean, there's Toyota, there's Chikusa Nagayo. I mean, it makes me mad because I think not enough people. They talk about women's revolution and all this shit. It's like, no. The women's revolution took place in the 80s. It was all Japan women. Like, come on, let's be honest here. Like, what are you guys talking about? And a lot of the women of today are very, very good. Not as good as them. And they were talking about, wrestlers that competed 30 years ago. They helped push the style forward because even the men start emulating some of the maneuvers.
Yeah.
They're taking fucking bumps on the fucking head and shit that are fucking ridiculous. They're taking bumps on their head that would make fucking Taz fucking squeamish. Like, Jesus Christ. Go back and watch some All Japan Women's. Educate yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should maybe one day cover All Japan, New Japan, and All Japan's women's division. We could probably.
Well, New Japan doesn't have a women's division.
Well,
neither does All Japan. It's a separate company.
To be honest with you, growing up, I did not watch much Japanese wrestling.
I mean, here's the thing with me, Japanese wrestling, right? I might get some of the names wrong. I might get some of the facts wrong. It doesn't matter. I've watched enough of their matches to know how they're like 10 years ahead of us. For the longest time, they're like 10 years ahead of us. And it was funny because they would get 10 years ahead of us and then they try to emulate what like WWF is doing. They do that shit all the time.
Yeah.
Pardon me. But, New Japan's coming back to the Madison Square Garden and I'll be there. So that's for sure.
When are they? They're coming back.
August 22nd, they'll be back in New York.
Isn't that when they're having SummerSlam and the NXT Takeover show? Isn't that?
That'll be in Boston, though.
Oh, I know, but they were having a big thing. They're like, what's a wrestling fan gonna do? They got New Japan. They got. It's like, oh my God, it's like a wrestler's dream. I mean,
it's good because you don't have to worry about Ring of Honor ruining their show now. So I'm very happy about that.
You think Ring of Honor would ruin the show?
It did last time they were in the Garden. Fucking Matt Taven, world champ. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, no, Enzo doesn't run in. Well, I think when I reviewed that show, I think I stated it's the title of two different shows. New Japan show was fucking off the hook. The Ring of Honor show was shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Like I always say, it is what it is. But
yeah, it's shitty. It's what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that New Japan is coming back to Madison Square Garden. You get to see them. I doubt they're going to bring in any big time like surprises or foreigners there. I think they're just going to run a show because I really wanted and they were smart at the Garden because they ran it like the New Japan show. I don't want them to come here and try to run an American style show. That's not what I want. What I want is a Japanese authentic show. From the ring announcers, don't even have that shit in fucking English. I don't give a fuck. I just want the authentic experience because there's a good possibility, and although I desperately want to go to Japan for Wrestle Kingdom, there's a good possibility, basic expense and distance, that I'll never ever get to go. This is going to be the closest thing.
Yeah, don't a lot of the New Japan shows that are in America, they do it in Japanese. The ring announcer. Yeah, I'm hoping that one day I can get to a Wrestle Kingdom. Eventually.
They don't let you in Japan. You can buy panties out of a fucking vending machine there.
Edible underwear?
No, just regular ass fucking dirty underwear.
Oh, that is fucking awesome! Holy shit!
It's a fucking ridiculous time.
And speaking of something that's awesome, even more awesome. It's your YouTube channel.
It is. It's pretty good.
And how can someone, that can't get enough of your awesome voice and your awesome opinions, how can they find your YouTube channel?
You type in retro wrestling games in the YouTube search. function. It'll pop right up. We have, around 375 videos or so check those out. We do have the very anticipated AWA 1990 project, which I talk about how I fantasy book and rebook AWA 1990 to make sure we do not go out of business. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that.
And anything that you can kind of tease that. Other than that, like any future projects that you're thinking about covering. That's going to.
We're going to talk a lot about 1989, 1990, 1991, the world of professional wrestling in general. Everything from Crockett selling to Turner, which I know was in '88, but we're going to do a lot of. We'll talk a lot of global, a lot of USWA. And a lot of the independents that started springing up in the late 80s, early 90s. We're going to talk about that. We're going to focus on that time frame.
Once we get off the air taping today on this Wednesday, it's actually, you know what, folks, I'm not going to watch your YouTube channel, on this Wednesday because, you know what today is? Today is AEW Wednesday, so I'm gonna be going to the old State Farm Arena, used to be Phillips Arena here in Atlanta, Georgia, to boo the fuck out of MJF. I've been told that guy's actually a dick in real life. He lives the gimmick. So kind of like you live the gimmick. So
every day.
If you see a run-in on TV tonight and some goofy looking white guy, that's me. That's me. Well, it's probably get my ass kicked. It's going to be the first ever cage match on All Elite Wrestling. Of course, it's only been around for a little bit, so of course it's the first. I have a feeling there's going to be some blood. It's going to be glorious. I'm looking forward to it, and I will report back next week on being at an AEW show live. Maybe one day they'll come up in your section of the country, and you can attend.
I prefer wrestling live anyway. I think everyone should go out of their way to. I'm not saying, hey, go to WWF Raw because going to Raw kind of sucks. But if there's a house show in your area, you owe it to yourself to go to wrestling shows.
Yeah.
Would it be WWE? Would it be AEW? Would it be the NWA, MLW, or your local independent? Go to the fucking shows. Wrestling is meant to be seen live, not on TV.
Yeah, I will admit going to a Raw live, I don't know, it's just not the same.
It's very long. It's a lot of breaks in the action. Go to the house show. They're going to be cheaper, and you're going to see really good matches.
Yeah, with TV, it's just, you see a lot of stuff that you don't see on TV. They, when the guys come to the ring and they have their music, and they stop it because they go to TV, and then they come back. It's a long night.
You got commercial breaks in there too.
It's not as long as WrestleMania last year at MetLife Stadium, but holy shit.
Over under how long this year's WrestleMania is going to go?
7 hours.
7 hours.
Yep, they're going to be in Tampa, and next year
they're going to have to break it to 2 nights. It's going to have to happen, right?
Yeah, do you think if that ever happened, do you think that would be popular? Not popular?
I don't know, because do I think they could sell out 2 football stadiums on back-to-back nights? I don't know. Like, if it was 2 smaller arenas, say it was like the Garden, that would be a no-brainer. Yeah, that would work, but that's only about 40,000 people all in.
But 2 MetLifes.
2 MetLifes, 2, Sugar Bowls or whatever, or Silver Domes or Super Domes or whatever those places.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard sell, to be completely honest. I think they're going to have to try. At some point, they're going to have to try and see what happens. Like, maybe they do it in 2 different parts of the country, too. They do one in Los Angeles and one in New York, or one in Chicago and one in Atlanta. Like they used to do with WrestleMania 2 or Starrcade.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see. But moving on in this card that we're currently talking about, of course, it's Collision in Korea. It was a singles match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Scott Norton taking on your favorite wrestler, Mr. Hashimoto.
I love Hashimoto.
You do?
The best way I can describe Hashimoto, Japanese Samoa Joe, maybe? possibly similar. I guess that would be the best way to describe him. We're talking about top guys. Hashimoto won all the belts. Obviously, in this show, he is the IWGP World Champion. He was Triple Crown World Champion for All Japan. It was 0-1. Again, top dude. Go out of your way, fucking watch fucking Hashimoto matches. Like, they're fucking phenomenal. Great matches all around. Check him out. Scott Norton, again, he's a big deal in Japan during this time frame. He'll eventually make it over to WCW in 1990. I think he's already there. So he debuted a couple of months before this. Maybe not. What time of the year is this show?
It's in April.
Yeah. So
no. It's April and aired in August.
All right. So people know who Scott Norton is by no. Scott Norton would debut like on the third Nitro, so like maybe the last week of September. So this is some people's first look at a not lumberjack Scott Norton from the AWA. And I love this particular belt, the IWGP belt. This design is my favorite design for the belt, and they actually retired it when he passed away. So if I was going to buy another belt, because I have one, it would probably be that IWGP title.
Which belt do you have?
I had the big green belt, the one that Hogan won from the Iron Sheik.
Oh, Sheiky baby, that was. Oh man, yeah. What
are your thoughts on Scott Norton? Like, you think they underutilized him in WCW?
Yeah, I mean, he could have been bigger. I mean, he could have been. Yeah, I think they did. I mean, it was a big guy. I mean, you utilize your big guys. I mean, he was underutilized. I mean.
Like, I felt like he gets beat by Savage like almost right away. Like, I know there's a kabuki finish where like John tended to fall on his legs and Savage getting the 3 count on him, but then they beat him pretty fucking quickly. And then he's in a tag team with Ice Train, and then he's NWO for the rest of the time, essentially.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best move for his career. Never ended up in the WWF though,
which is strange. I mean,
yeah, I think it's weird too. I mean, he wasn't Over the Top, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time, the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie. But say his contract came up for expiration in like 1999, I'm surprised WWF never really made a play for him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, but hey, next, I mean, yeah, I mean, this match went. He was a time limit draw, 20 minutes.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's gonna. The next match. What were your thoughts on there? Road Warrior Hawk and Yashuda.
It's Yashuda.
Yes, I bless you.
Hawk. This is post Road Warriors. This is before the Warriors would probably come back. This is a fun little match. It's Road Warrior Hawk in Japan, so he's gonna be over as fuck. And Yashuda, former sumo. So again, is another one of those sumo guys coming over to Japanese professional wrestling. I thought this was a fun match. Again, a lot of these matches are going to be rough because there's nothing going on. So a lot of these matches are cold. So what you have on this show is a lot of cold matches in front of a cold crowd. There's not a whole lot of heat to a lot of these matches other than Inoki and Flair. But the crowd didn't even know who anyone was anyway, so it doesn't matter. But in terms of overall importance, Flair and Inoki is the match to watch. The rest of these matches are just wrestler A. We take wrestler A from one box and we put him in wrestler B in another box, and that's the match. Not necessarily dream matches or what have you. It's just we got these matches that we're going to get through.
Yeah, man. It was
no Sting on this show, which is surprising.
Sting. But who we did have on the show?
Because why couldn't they put Sting and Muta on the show? It probably made it a hell of a lot better, to be completely honest.
Yeah. But who they did have on the show? Rick and Scott Steiner.
Oh my God.
The Steiner brothers.
They're not even in the company. So this is the Steiner brothers, right? And I don't think they've made their way back to WCW yet.
So why are they even on the show?
Because they're in New Japan?
Yeah.
because they wouldn't come back to WCW until 1996. So you have the Steiner brothers, which everyone's familiar with. They're working for, depending on the month, it might be still in ECW and in New Japan. So you have the Steiner brothers, and they get Hase and Kensuke Sasaki, which Kensuke Sasaki is a guy you should know. He spent a lot of time in America, United States, and Hase, again, top guy over in Japan. You know, fucking phenomenal matches. He was in the Olympics in '84. You know, he was part of that group. So you have this group of like Hase, Hashimoto, Chono, Muto, and Liger. Like that was like a class, right? I think it was like the 80, 84, 85 class or whatever it was. But yeah, those guys, you know, came into their own around the same time. So, you know, really solid match. Again, the Steiner Brothers Japan are fucking amazing. Steiner Brothers in general are fucking off the fucking chains. Like their maneuvers in ring were innovative as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big, I don't know. Steiner Brothers are.
I want to talk about fucking Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. I'm not talking about Rick Steiner at the end of his career. In their prime, they're probably in the top 5 tag teams of all time.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean,
you know what I'd like to. You know what I'd like to see? Fucking Steiner Brothers taking on Tully and Arn. That would have been a fucking dope match.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Scott Steiner is still wrestling.
Yeah, like the Steiner Brothers made the Road Warriors seem less cool. You know what I mean? Because you had the Warriors, and then when you saw the Steiners and they're doing the shit that they're doing, it kind of like, oh, the Road Warriors are fucking old news. Like they were able to. Those are the guys that really kind of pushed out the Road Warriors.
Yep. But you know, this kind of, you know, that match ends. We get to our main event, at least on this day of the pay-per-view. Ric Flair, Antonio Inoki. Your thoughts on this match? I mean,
well, let's go back. I want to throw it back to you. What were your recollection of Inoki in general? Like, what was known about Inoki from you? Because he's someone that's very, very visible in the United States. Would it be being in the Bad News Bears Goes to Japan, or the stuff with Ali? Like, what do you remember from Inoki?
To be honest with you, not much.
Okay.
I mean, because, you know, I was early NWA guy, and I just didn't really see him. I mean, I just watched TV. That was NWA TV, and I never really saw him.
Because the Japanese wrestlers you would have saw would have been like Baba and like Tiger Mask for like the Crockett Cup.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew. I mean, I fucking knew who Giant Baba was, and Tiger Mask for the Crockett Cup. But yeah, I mean, it's like Inoki. Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch much Japanese wrestling. I mean, it was not, you know, at least in the South, it wasn't on.
Which is ironic because a lot of guys spent a lot of time there. So like Onita was in Memphis, and we had Hashimoto, and those guys spent a lot of time. Even Muto was in Florida. Like those guys spent time down there.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I knew who the great Muto was. I mean,
well, yeah, he's probably the most recognizable to American fans. Muta and Liger, probably.
Yeah, I mean, and Juice and Thunder Liger just retired this past January at Wrestle Kingdom. So it's like, you know, he's just finally hanging up the old mask for it's been wrestling forever. So it's like, but I mean,
so here's the thing with Inoki. So Inoki is the founder and at the time the owner of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So he's like the booker and the owner or whatever. And he started a promotion at 72, and he sold the company in 2005. So again, for extremely long time. His initial partnership was with Vince McMahon and the WWF. So that's why we get like Shimba. Like Shimba's WWF president before Jack Tunney. Like that's important. And you see Antonio Inoki. Like he's on the show where Hogan wins the belt in '84. So he's like the WWF World's Martial Arts Champion. So we have this in New York. We were more familiar with Inoki from his appearances at Madison Square Garden, he had the shoot fight, quote unquote shoot fight with Ali, which was close circuited everywhere. That was 10 years prior, maybe, I don't know. But Inoki for us was like, oh, he's a big deal, and the fact that we started getting him in WCW a little bit, and having this match with Flair, it's a dream match. So having Flair versus Inoki, who, from my recollection, never wrestled each other, is two of the biggest names from two of the biggest companies, and now not for nothing, they had a hell of a fucking match. A hell of a fucking match. I really did like this Inoki versus Flair match. It goes almost 15 minutes. Inoki gets the win here, of course. I don't think Hogan's the champ at this time, I believe. So, but why the hell not? I mean, Inoki would be probably more noticeable for like the Hogan matches he had in the early 80s, because those matches were off the chain. They were in the first IWGP tournament. But having him versus Flair here in 1995, yeah, Inoki's past his prime. Flair's a little bit past it, but they were still able to put on a good match here.
Yeah, it was a good main event. It was definitely better than not that I had imagined, because I know that they have good matches, and that it was Inoki Flair.
Yeah, man.
It was it was pretty good. But overall, what were your thoughts on? What would you give this rating of this show?
It's solid. I have to go back and watch the other matches from the other nights, but I think the show overall is a very solid show. I think the other New Japan. This is probably the worst of the New Japan WCW shows. Like, there's better ones than this one, especially the ones where Sting and Muta, either as opponents or as tag team partners, that are better overall shows. But I think for getting a glimpse on American pay-per-view for the first time for a lot of these guys, I think it's a good setup. And it kind of makes me wish that we would have got more of the Japanese pay-per-views over in America at the time, with some accompanying TV to understand what's going on.
Yeah, it could have been definitely done better, but it was Korea.
Yeah, the crowd had no heat, which is probably the problem overall.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like when you watch a Japanese show now. Yeah, they get into it, but they're not over enthusiastic, like American fans are about their. Yeah. They kind of give the respect, but so. But you want to know, I know you probably want to know, and everyone else at home wants to know, what show we are covering next week. And you know what I pulled out of the old hopper? And I don't think we've covered this before. You correct me if I'm wrong. Starrcade 1994.
Starrcade 94. Yes. Hogan versus the Butcher. I want to say we did that show.
The Starrcade 1994. It had
Hogan versus the Butcher.
I'm not sure if we've done that show, because we've done so many. But if we have,
we'll have a show next week.
Yes, we will have a show next week, folks. When we figure it out, we'll talk to the booker, the matchmaker, figure out what we're gonna have, and it'll post on our Twitter account at the RW Rewind.
We probably should just do a poll.
Yeah, I think we're gonna put up a poll. You know what? We're gonna put up a poll today as this episode airs. As I head to AEW, we're gonna put up a poll and go to our Twitter account, the RW Rewind, and then we're gonna have a choice of 3 shows, and whatever show that we put up there, if they actually win, we will cover it next week, and it'll be a surprise to you, and it'll be a surprise to us. But for the great Alex G, as always, I am David Fine. We will talk to you next week, where we will cover a show that you pick. Remember, go to the RW Rewind on Twitter. And as always, we'll talk to you in the past.